Hi everyone and welcome back to LPB Racing for the LPB IMSA Replica Championship here on GT Sport. This is round 3, race 2 here from Tokyo. We're about to go off on the formation lap and we're going to go through the grid for you now. So on pole position we have Will on pole position in the 919 hybrid with Keith alongside on the front row.
And we have Florida Man starting in the second row in third, and it looks like Thundercats behind him in fourth. Good qualifying.
Good qualifying for him, yeah, definitely. And MGR is in 5th place with Bradders in 6th.
And then rounding out the prototype field, we have Firepower and Blake.
And then we have Woo Woo in 9th place on the grid, which is GT pole position, and then Neil Farmack in 10th.
Then behind him we have TY in 3rd in GT with Bidster in 4th.
And then we have Tim in 5th in class with Rodders 6th in class in the AMG.
And then behind him would be the 2 Audis of Red Bull and Stevie.
So not a good qualifying there for the Audis in this one, Will. Not really their kind of track, this one.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the Audi's track here in GT, but at the end of the race, you never know. With how we saw the end of the first race finish, they could find their way back up to the front.
Stevie likes a good run through the field, so we'll have to keep an eye on them. And in the prototypes at the front, very surprising qualifying there for Thundercats. A good form with the pace of the car. The Audi might seem to be a car to watch out for here.
Yeah, we haven't really seen Thunder's pace throughout the season, but this track really helps with the Audis, especially with their top speed, so he might be someone to look out for towards the end.
Right, so they're now going to come through towards the chicane of death, but hopefully not going to have too many people go off at the chicane in this one, but we'll see. But very steep curves, you'll have to watch out for that as the race goes on. So good qualifying for Will on pole position. They're taking advantage of the Porsche's aerodynamics around here, and then we've actually got quite a few different mixture of cars up front in Division 2's DPI class, so looks like quite a good variation there.
Yeah, and this track has really been able to bring out pace in people that normally hasn't had pace throughout the season, so this race should be a good one.
So they're just lining up now. It's taking a while to line up. The DPI is not quite lined up properly yet, but I think we're about as good as we're going to get as we go through the grid markings, and will get this race underway. Up to the line, and there's a 3, 2, 1 go, and there we're off, and the DPI's they're all fanning out 3 or 4 wide already. Will, this is incredible stuff down towards turn 1, and we've got Thundercats on the inside. Bradders, brilliant start there in his Audi, and I've got contact, Blake into the wall, Florida Man contact there with him as well. GTs are away as well, and they're all in a massive pack as well.
Yeah, everybody seems to be fanning out, trying to get the positions as they can, because they want to be the first one down into the hairpin.
Red Bull straight to 4th in class, Will. You were right to watch out for them Audis. The Audi brilliant off the line there, and he's already up in making up places. Meanwhile, the DPIs are at the hairpin, and Bradders spins out the hairpin. Oh, get the rear wheel drive of the Audi, just spins the rear end up, and round he goes. And now he's going to rejoin in the middle of the GTLM pack, and that's not going to be good for him.
And luckily he doesn't fall too far behind in the pack. He only has 1 car to get around. But and he scrapes the wall, but he's going to catch him in a decent place to get by him, and now just has to make up time to his pack. And
looking back to the front of DPI, we have Blake on the inside looking to try and get past Thundercats, but Thundercats holding his ground here in 3rd place. This could be the start of some good times here for Thunder. He's just got to survive through the race. MGR right behind Blake over the chicane, so the MGR and Florida Man look a lot more confident over the tight corners.
Yeah, those cars that they are in seem to be able to help with them tight corners a little bit, and the Mach Acuras. So those cars seem to really like the tight corners. It's just they don't have the hybrid as the newer Toyotas do, and against the Porsche and the Audi. So they're going to be a little struggling out of the corners, but on the longer straightaways they should be able to pull that gap back in.
Yeah, that should be an advantage on this track, like we saw with the Peugeots in the first one, but we'll see how that goes. Not as much of an advantage as the Peugeot would have on the straight, but still it's a good balance for around here. We'll see how that goes. Back to GT then. We're in the lead of GT with in the Mercedes AMG, and then we've got the TY and Neil Train, the Corvettes behind, showing that the Corvettes have got good pace around here, and can't say I'm surprised, Will, with the V8 power around here.
Yeah, the Corvettes have great top line speed, and especially if they can stay together and draft each other and pull away from that pack. One thing I have to worry about though is their tire wear and their fuel consumption, which around here would be more of the fuel consumption. See if they can get the same mileage as everybody else is getting to really make that pace worth it.
Yeah, because you'll see the Corvettes start to short shift a lot, and they'll rely a lot more on the engine torque with the American cars as well, just to try and pull them along. Meanwhile, it's working because they're right behind Woo now, and then TY goes for a move on the inside of Woo into the corner, but Woo gets into the corner first, and TY just backs out of it, thinks, no, just show me nose, but not yet. And Neil Farmick is holding station behind his teammate Bidster now in the Jaguar, closing right up to the back of Red Bull, but through the chicane the Audi just pulls away from the Jaguar.
Yeah, Audi seems to love that curb going through there.
The speed of the last corner as well, Will. Sorry, but the speed on the last corner there was incredible.
In practice and qualifying, that Audi was really over them curbs a lot, and it has a great jump out of it and through the last corner, so that's really helping that car out, see all over the back of Corvettes as he's going to try to look for a pass. He's
trying to look for a pass, yeah, he's really on there, and we know Red Bull, if he's going to go for a move, he will commit to it. He doesn't usually back out of moves very often, but yeah, it looks like the Audi's got that much speed through the corners, Will, that he's actually going to be able to keep with the faster cars, because he's actually, because he can carry that speed through the corners. Maybe not this corner so much, because everyone has to slow down a lot, but it's especially out of the last turn. They're going to have to be really careful with that Audi.
Yeah, he really is, and also to worry about the Constantina effect. It's not going to be as bad with only only a few cars in class, not like a huge field like say when everybody is together, but it's still going to have a Constantina effect. So you have to worry about that, so you don't end up trying to react and miss the person in front of you, but you go into the wall, or you hit the person in front of you and cause a massive accident. It looks like as Red Bull's going for a move.
I'm just looking back to that now as Red Bull looking at a move on Neil Farmack but not going for it yet. And then we've got Brothers actually attacking Bidster as well, so they're all in a line here. Red Bull on they're all on the tail of each other going into the chicane, and the Audi can't use its speed through the chicane this time because it gets right close up behind those other cars. Just having a quick look back into LMP, Will, and we've got Thundercats up to second place in the Audi. He's past Keith, and now I'm not sure whether that was a mistake or not, but looking at lap times, it was Thunder's pace.
Yeah, Thunder looked like he had some amazing pace right now. Keith's fastest lap was at a 120.4. With Thunder at a 120.9, and even the leader only doing the fastest leader down to 119.7, so he's only a few tenths off the leader.
I just saw there a bit of contact between MGR and Blake in the tunnel, but that's normal. MGR goes to pass Keith and shoves him into the wall there. That was a bit of a move, but I'm not sure if that was on purpose or Keith slowed down. And now they're all bullying each other. And now they're all bullying each other out of the chicane as well. It's all happening here, Will.
Yeah, right now, a bunch going on in that chicane again. You see on the exit, Thunder got too far out into the wall, and it looks like multiple cars had struggled getting through that chicane, and then MGR just absolutely putting Keith in the wall there. So they're
sure
fighting
that was
right now.
Called for or not, Will? What was your take on that? It looked a bit rough.
Yeah, it did. He had plenty of room to either back out of it or try to go side by side and see who would want to back out.
Sorry to cut you off, Will, but look at GT Battle. We're 3 wide into the corner, end of the straight. They're all together. Bidster on the inside has somehow got to second place. Neil's in the lead of the class. And we've got Woo TY and everyone in the middle of the pack now. It's all... See, we look away from... Oh, Bidster flies over the chicane. Hits Red Bull. Then Rodders goes through. That was dangerous. That's why sausage curbs are getting took up in real racing, because they are dangerous, Will.
Yeah, I mean, if you can set it up right, you can go too wide to that chicane, but it's not advised, because no matter what you do, you'll hit a sausage curb, and then that happens, because there was no fault at that. It was just sausage curb putting the car wherever it could, and just the car not reacting like it should.
And Stevie's moving up at the minute. And Red Bull's gone backwards as well. So Red Bull, I wonder if there's been some kind of battling going on between Red Bull and the mid-pack, and then they've all sort of gone into drafting mode and all started to pass each other. I would imagine that's the more likely situation in this, as we get Red Bull looking down the inside of his teammate into the hairpin. Stevie will not like that, and Stevie will want to try and get as many places up as he can, but again, it's a long race.
Yeah, and it is. And one thing that really put Red Bull back, he was battling for fourth up there at the front, but going too wide in that chicane, Bid's car really didn't react. great. Ended up putting Red Bull really wide and getting into the wall, now putting them all the way towards the back once again. But, I mean, it's still a long race. We're only 6 laps in, so you have plenty of time to try to crawl back up the front.
Sparks off there. Blake's car there. Oh, Thunder! No! Thunder hits the wall on the way out of the hairpin. Thunder, he just can't. He didn't really hit the wall, he just caught the wall at a funny point, and the game just went, nope, that's an invisible wall, and you're screwing round. So, Thundercats, very unlucky there, and he's just rejoining now from the hairpin, and that was a disastrous thing there, because he was doing so well, Will.
Yeah, he was doing really well, up to second at one point, matching almost leaders' times, and then falling to third. But still not too bad, considering where he's normally at, and then just that heartbreaking to see what it goes on with that car. But then again, like I said, we're 7 laps into a 31-lap race for these guys, so I mean, if he can get any positions back, he has plenty of time with the pace he's on, as long as he doesn't push too hard.
As long as he doesn't do that. But Will is in the lead of the race. Will M79 leads the way, and he's now going to approach traffic, but he actually might get him in the best place possible, out of the hairpin down the straight, so he might actually get lucky here. But yeah, well, this is the one thing now that's going to make or break your race, and especially for the LMP cars, for the DPI cars, they've got to be careful. So this is where the race starts to spice up a bit, Will.
Yeah, especially with lap traffic. Now, it won't be too bad because he's by himself, so I don't have to really worry about anybody up behind him and really trying to push through traffic. Has a really good gap, so you can kind of take his time and make the right moves, and then not worry about someone trying to pass him behind.
Yeah, because he's just going around the outside of most of the cars here. Now, he's got a bit of a bigger group in front of him here. If he's just patient enough, or he's actually got the power, he's got the power down. He's on the outside line. He's trying to keep out the way of everyone, so he's doing a good job here. And he's just behind Neil now. He'll probably have to wait behind Neil towards the chicane. And then nearly up, pulled to the inside and straight through. The masterclass about to overtake the GTL Enfield. Done to you there by Will M79. There you go. You have to write a book. But into the chicane then goes everyone else in LMP. Oh, NGR's into the wall. Again, another culprit of hopping over that chicane, Will. And those, I mean, that time it was hit the sausage curb and bounce off the wall and into the other side. And he's very lucky that his car ghosted there, because in real life that would have been quite the pile-up.
Yeah, and it seems like the major case is just people getting too greedy and wanting to go too fast to that chicane, and him just drawing out wide or understeering as he hits the wall in turn 1 and then not being able to make the full corner. Yeah,
because I mean, a lot of the cars, if you can hit it right, it sort of bounces the car a little, but then it makes the front end hit the ground, so it's actually alright. And now, Keith's got stuck behind the traffic now, and Blakeney's to the inside, but they are overtaking other cars as well. This is going to be entertaining. Oh, into the corner, but they just keep to the inside, and the GTLM cars have enough sense to keep to one side. Might as well just let them all come through. Just let them through and just run your own race. But now this is going to get tight down here. Well, this is going to be mayhem.
It is, and keeps in the wall and gets into Ruru a little bit, but nothing too major.
Floater onto the inside of Ruru! Just!
That's what happens when you basically have every car on the track except for one trying to fight everybody to get by.
5 out to the inside of everyone here, and the GT cars they're all trying to give each other the room, which is good. They're being as respectful as they can. Bit of contact between Bradders and Red Bull there, but I think that was just the Red Bull understeering into Bradders' car, and now everyone's trying to get through at the chicane. And now this is where the acceleration of the LMPs, they can just get past the other cars and go.
Yeah, that's the big thing with lapping right now. It's just trying to make sure that you can make the pass. And most of the time, the most sensible thing to do is just to wait until it's straightaway. Because you know you'll have the hybrid get out, but then you just have that point of someone's up my butt and I need to get through, and then that's when you have the accident starting to happen.
And also you don't want to lose the pack in front, because you've got Florida Man, you've got Blake Key from Florida Man that pulled away in that, and MGR, Firepower and Brad has got caught up a little bit, and they've sort of lost that main pack. So now they are actually down. They'll be able to draft each other, but it's catching up the other pack. They're going to have to do some real serious NASCAR style stuff, Will, and that's the stuff that's up your street.
Yeah, you really just got to end up, you want to get around, but at a track like this, it really doesn't hurt, especially with fuel saving. And most of the fuel saving, you end up saving tires too. So it really wouldn't hurt, just stick behind somebody, put in fuel mode 3, 4, and then just ride around for a little while, because then you go longer on fuel, make that gap more, and then end up pit later and actually maybe gain an advantage on track.
And for those viewers that don't know what the numbers are referring to, there is that they were referring to the Gran Turismo fuel system, which is if you're on it's a number between 1 and 6, and if you're on fuel mixture 1, that means you've got all the power, and then fuel mixture 6 means that you're running lean, so you're running less power to save fuel. So yeah, that's just to explain to our more newer viewers. That's what that would be. So we've got.
It seems like here in the next few laps, at least prototype pit stops should be happening, because right now the leader is on just under a quarter of a tank. Second is on about a quarter, and same for everybody else except the Toyotas. It looks like they're going to have decent fuel mileage.
Yeah, it looks like the majority of the LMP pack, just scanning through here, the majority of the LMP pack are actually on about a third of a tank left, whereas the leader Will is actually on under a quarter, almost an eighth of a tank. So that could be a bit of a difference maker if he spends too long in the pits. But again, he is on his own, so he might be able to sort of get out just behind all this lot and actually have some more track to himself.
And you also have the undercut strategy, because that's also, and also, I mean, really, if the team strategize together, because right now the team's at a 1-2 in the race, they could be going for the old Lamar Rabbit strategy, where one person sits back and tries to fight with everybody else, while one just goes off and does their own thing and tries to set the fastest laps possible to see which one works. So
yeah,
I mean, there's multiple reasons why we have this, but
Bidson Rodders in the pits. They've been in the pits already, so they've decided to pit a bit earlier than the rest. I think the Jaguar and the Merc have been eating a bit more fuel, so they're both out the pits now. Rodders has almost put in a full tank, and Bidster has, so a bit of a difference in strategy there. But looking at the GTs, the Audis are not doing too bad. They're still running together. Red Bull obviously came back a bit after having a bit of a battle with the others earlier on, but we've really got the top ones are on their own. So we've got Thundercats just passing them. We've got TY Neal, 2 Corvettes in the lead, with Woo Woo in third, and then we've got a big gap to Red Bull in fourth.
Yeah, that gap's starting to open up a good amount now, but that's because a lot of the fighting has kind of calmed down. So you're starting to see the pace come out. Woo's dropped back from the Corvettes a little bit, but he's actually made some places up since that incident a few laps back. It looks like he's really trying to save fuel, because he's on the same amount. His tires are terrible.
Yeah,
so he's really been pushing. He's around another lap.
And as well, Will, I've just noticed as well, the Merc is actually using more fuel than the Corvette. Could that be to do that the Corvettes sort of rely more on the torque, and the Merc relies more on horsepower? As we've got Red Bull and Stevie in the pits as well, so I'll let you just explain that, Will, while we've got cars in the pit lane.
Yeah, that could very well be, because say if the Corvettes, they known to have their low end torque speed, that's why you don't shift early, especially on the C7Rs. The Mercedes GT3 car, that one would be more of a top end car, so it doesn't have the punch out of the corner and low revs. It could be at the high rev range. It's where it really has its pace. So that's when you're going to start drinking more fuel the higher revs you go. So that could be a major reason why. As the leader now is with second place.
Yeah, we've just been looking at that, Will, while you've been explaining that. Yeah, so both leaders in. Will in, 7 litres of fuel left. Blake 16, so actually Blake did actually use quite a bit of fuel there as well. As Will now is on his way out of the pits. Brand new full tank of fuel and on his way. So there's no doubts about him with his strategy. Just fill it up and go. And Blake's come out of the pits, not too far behind, but Will has still got his gap. But now it's really going to depend now what the rest of the field do.
Yeah, now from the rest of the field, depending on when they pit and the pace that Will wants to set, that'll really decide who can get back up.
Sorry, Will, Keith through the chicane. Hop, land, and Florida was rubbing his hands together thinking he was going to hit the wall, but he didn't. So Keith just holding the lead, but Florida Man now looking to go for the lead on track here. Could this be a smart decision with the fuel?
And it really could be. I mean, also people are wanting to try to have the lead of the race before they pit, so they can come out in the lead. Hope now that's the plan. But I don't really think fighting at this point is a great idea. I mean, because especially the pace that we saw the leader running at, even when people drafting, had over a 10-second gap to the cars behind. So I mean, you'd figured you'd want to try to make the gap as big as possible, so when you pit, it's not that far, or you're still ahead, where you can still get ahead and not have that big gap for them.
Yeah, maybe more of a psychological advantage, maybe he's thinking, but they're coming up to some lap traffic anyway. Florida Man is coming up to some lap traffic. We've got Rodders, Bidster and Red Bull ahead. So we've got to pass all them now in this narrow bit. It goes around Red Bull, and Keith just about gets around Red Bull, but gets held up. And now they're going for Bidster and Rodders, and he gets through. Oh, he passes Bidster on the inside and hits Bidster into the wall. So that could be a penalty, and that was a bit of a dangerous place to pass him.
Yeah, and it was pretty dangerous. I mean, that could have been pulled off a little better if he wasn't going to, but ended up throwing him into the walls. Some of the prototypes have been in MRG, Bradders, and it looks like Firepower have all been in the pits. So they've all looked the same strategy for the most part. Thunder on really low fuel. He's really trying to get ahead of everybody.
Yeah, that's a little run through then. Florida Man and Keith obviously still yet to pit. Florida Man is on red fuel. I would imagine he'll be in this lap in a moment. I would imagine Keith would follow him. But Keith could still keep going in this, because if he can get more over this half, well, we're almost over half distance. If Keith can keep going on this, then he might actually be able to make the end of the race after one pit stop. So that could be good.
Yeah, because where a lot of people have pitted, especially the two team cars with Will and Blake, I don't know they're going to be able to make it because they stopped on lap 13. So that's under half distance. So they're probably going to have to at least make a splash and dash towards the end.
The Corvettes have just come out of the pits. Well, they just pitted in unison, and we've got Neil Farmack out in the lead of GTLM, but he's only put 3/4 of a tank in. TY's gone for the full lot. Now, could this be Neil going for another stop, going for a 2-stop race here?
It could possibly be if he doesn't think if he thinks he knows he can make it on a 1-stop, but the tires won't hold up towards the end. He's probably making it to where he has to pit for the 2-stopper to make it to where he'll have the better tires at the end.
So looking ahead now, and also looking at LMP as well, we've got Keith. He's just to go round. Florida Man pitted, and he came out in 5th place. So he's now drafting the other full tank of fuel as well for him. So Keith is he's going to be the last to pit in class. So we'll keep an eye on him. Will's obviously out of the pits. He's just dealing with the traffic and everything. So Stevie is now in 12th place ahead of Rodders and Red Bull. So there he's ahead of them guys there. We've got Blake 3rd. MGR 4th, less fuel in his car. Florida Man with a lot of fuel, so yeah, a few different strategies here. One thing I did find, Will, that I wouldn't mind your thoughts on, is that Stevie in the Audi, he's and Rodders as well. Oh, Rodders pitted earlier, but Stevie and Red Bull not going for the full tank of fuel with their cars. They've only gone just over halfway.
And that very well could be, like we've said in some of the longer races, is that they're not happy with how the car feels on a full tank. So if you're not happy with how it feels, then you're not really going to be on pace, per se, against everybody else. So they could be going for making the car feel better and making up the time on track, then pitting afterwards, as Keith just went into the pits.
Yeah, and he's just coming out now. When does he come out? He comes out just behind Florida Man. Brilliant stuff from the pit lane. They both went for the exact same strategy, and Keith actually managed to keep some good pace in that on that in-lap then, because Florida Man is only just ahead of him now. So the battle resumes for 4th place overall. And we've got Firepower and Bradders actually quite close. Bradders having a good battle in this one. He's been falling behind in the DPI races, but yeah, looking good in this one.
Yeah, he seems to be doing a lot better in this race, being able to at least keep up. I mean, they had that spin at the beginning. Still not too far off. He has Firepower right behind him, so if they don't fight, they could draft up, maybe catch 5th towards the end of the race with pit stops and all that happening.
And just on a separate subject, Will, on I forgot to mention the first video that we did, in the first race that we did, this track is, obviously we're doing the IMSA calendar, so this track represents what track in real life?
This one's supposed to be Long Beach, if I remember correctly, the Long Beach street course.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be a mix of Long Beach and Road Atlanta, weren't it, with the sort of shape of the track as well, so a bit of a blend of, but basically Road Atlanta with walls.
Most likely, yes.
Yeah, so a bit of a blend of everything. So, anyway, so back to the race. So we've got Will. So running through the standings, then we have Will in 1st place in DPI. Blake's actually very close in 2nd. The two teammates close to each other now. Blake's closed a lot. Could that be the fuel difference?
Yeah, it could be, because when they both stopped on the same lap, but Blake took about 1/4 of a tank less. So he was able to kind of get a little closer with that and make some time back up, and it looks like he's on a lot quicker pace with less fuel. So, I mean, and also then again, they could, you know, instead of fighting, might stay together, push a little ahead. So, but that seemed like that fuel strategy has worked right now, but we don't know up until the end of the race to see if that'll work strategy-wise.
You'll have to see with that one as we get... Oh, Keith pulling a brilliant move there on Florida Man. Florida Man gets stuck behind one of the Corvettes, and Keith goes round the outside and says, thank you very much, see you later. And Keith goes straight through into 4th place in class. Nice work from Keith there. And now one car I am a bit worried about is MGR, because especially with his fuel compared to the rest, he's a lot lower on fuel unless he's definitely going for that 2-stop option.
Yeah, and see, when did he pit?
Let's have a look.
If I can figure it out, because everybody else stopped between lap 13 and 15. Looks like maybe 14 he made.
Yeah,
a
he did a slow lap on that one, so it looks like he just did a little splash and dash and decided to, unless he decided to do a quick stint now and then do a longer stint towards the end of the race. But we'll find out as the race develops. But anyway, further back we've got Firepower moving past the Corvettes in 7th position over. So we've got back to the standings, guys. We're going through the standings, sorry about that. So we've got Will and Blake up front in the two. Is it the Corvette team Yost?
It's JDC Flying Lizard Motorsports.
That's the one. Yep. Just make sure I'm reading the right one. So then we've got MGR in 3rd with Keith in 4th.
And we behind him we have Florida Man in 5th with Brad in 6th.
7th for Firepower, not far off, but Brad is here. And then Thundercats, not too far behind after considering the spin that he had, but just off the pace now.
And then in GT, it looks like we have another Team 1-2 with Corvette Racing and 1st and 2nd in class.
So we've got Corvette, so T White in the lead with Neil 2nd, yeah, and then we've got Woo in 3rd, actually starting to catch them now. 31.5 last time round, so the Mercedes looks like it might be back in it. We'll have a look at that after we've done the standings, and then we've got Stevie in 4th in class.
Then behind him we have Red Bull in 5th in class with Radas in 6th.
7th is Bidster, so not a good track here for the Jaguars, and Tim in last in class, so not good for him. Bidster trying to have a look at Rodders here, but not the main battle that we're looking at. And Stevie does come into the pit lane. Stevie into the pits, obviously he did that low fuel run, so fresh tyres, low fuel, this could be a strategy that could work.
Yeah, and it really could, especially with a lot of other people doing the 2-stop strategy. That could actually end up helping in the long run, especially if he can figure out how many times the prototype will lap. He might actually make it work.
And looking at the fuel and tyres at the front, the Corvette's tyres look a lot better than the Mercedes' tyres, but Mercedes has got the edge on the fuel.
Yeah, the Mercedes seems to be doing a little better on the fuel and pace-wise, so that could also be a car to see come back up to the front.
So Woo then right on the back of Neil Farmer here, so the TY could end up losing his wingman here, but Woo going for the overtake then, probably trying to turn the engine up a bit as well, and he's right behind him, he's practically pushing him along. It's like watching NASCAR.
Yeah, right now a lot of people are going to try to be doing that to save fuel, even if it's a teammate or not, just try to make it to the end, because the GT cars do not know when their race will end, because it doesn't really show how many laps down you are. So you kind of have to keep track of that and save fuel so you can, do better on your strategy.
Yeah, well, you can see Woo-Woo's definitely pushing here, and we've got Thundercats closing up to lap these cars now, but yeah, Woo-Woo definitely on the move in the GTLM class. And Thunder being very patient, waiting for the straight, and exactly what you should do. And we'll leave them to sort out their little battle there. And we look at Red Bull, he's sort of on his own now in 4th in class. And Rodders has got Bidster on the back of him now as well. And Rodders now into the pits, Will.
And now Rodders is going to make his, I think, 2nd stop of the race.
Yep.
So this actually could help out, because while he's in the pits, it looks like he should be getting lapped. So that'll take one more lap off, with the leaders just starting lap 21, so this could really actually be his last stop of the race. And
Stevie is through and takes the place off Rodders now. So Stevie, with that strategy that he did a little light run in the middle, and now he's going for a run enough to get to the end of the race, I think. So that brings Rodders out down in last place, but against Tim and Bidster, Will might have to stop before the end of the race, because the Jaguars have not enjoyed this track, Will. I thought they would be more up to pace with what the Corvettes and the Mercs could do. but I definitely didn't see him down at the back of the field for this one.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people knew the Corvettes are going to be fast here because of just how the straightaways are. And the Mercedes, actually, to me, was one of the standout ones. I really wasn't expecting that car to be great here. But Bid is running some weight, so that could also be a factor.
Yes, we did mention that
earlier. Yeah, because it looks like Bid is leading the driver, leading weight penalties. So he's running 75 kgs of weight. So that would probably hinder him a little bit, and Tim really hasn't been meshing with either of the cars so far. So that, I mean, a lot of that could be just the track and the weight with the car, and then not liking the car. That's, I mean, it's a bad race, but it's good to go and get your bad race out of the way, third race in.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, good job to do that. But we've just been looking at the Jaguar, Will, and there's a lot of oversteer. Understeers. Red Bull's gone round. Red Bull goes round. He does exactly what Thundercats did near the start of the race, and he's doing donuts in the middle of the tracks. He can't get the car turned round. That was quite dangerous there, but he gets the car going. But again, that exit wall, Will, catching people out.
Yeah, and it's just because everybody's trying to really get that corner like quick out, as MGR will be back in the pits to try to get that good run on the straightaway. So, I mean, and it's just another thing of getting too greedy with a corner that you really can't. You have to be cautious with because of things like that.
And this two-stop strategy might not help MGR because he's come out of the pits and he's behind Firepower and Bradders. And he's lost touch with Keith from Florida Man as well, so he's on his own, back in 7th position. But he has got fresh tyres and enough fuel to definitely get to the end of the race. So that could be one to watch as Thundercats dips into the 119s. Good lap time there for Thunder, and he might actually have a new lease of life with MGR for being this far down as well. So we'll keep an eye on that as things develop, guys. But meanwhile, at the front of the race, Will in DPI still has Blake right behind him as his teammate, but we have Will on a bit more fuel than Blake at this stage.
Yeah, and it looks like both of them are definitely going to have to do a two-stop here because they're not going to have enough to get to the end, especially with the pace they are running up until this lap. I mean, at least Will's been running in the 19, set his fastest lap on lap 19, with Blake doing a mesh between 19s and 20s and 21. So, I mean, they're not slowing down by any means. So they're definitely both. Blake definitely is going to have to make one more pit stop, with Will most likely having to make another one.
Some more DPIs overtaking other cars as Florida Man runs wide at the hairpin, but no, he goes into the pit lane now. I'm not sure whether he meant to go in there, but he just went wide and he ended up in the pit lane. So a quick change of tyres, maybe a quick splash of fuel as well, and straight out. But yeah, that's not worked out well for him. But he has come out behind his teammates, so now MGR might actually have someone to help him up the field with if he can catch up.
Yeah, and I'm quite surprised because that team has actually done really well pace and strategy-wise the last two races. So that's kind of surprising to see their strategy work out like this. But there is still people to pit. Now, I don't believe Keith will pit again, so he's definitely set for the rest of the race. But so I mean, I doubt they can make that time up. So I mean, if they do make any places up with what they're doing, it won't be a win. But I mean, they might, because I mean, you still have both leaders to pit and everybody behind Keith besides you.
Sorry, Will. Speaking of leaders, we've got Will and Blake Reed's trying to slice their way through the Corvettes and the Mercs. Will's going to get through. Will Blake make it? Now he's going to be in the middle of the two Corvettes, and that's going to separate the teammates as Woo tries to have a sneaky little go back at Blake there, but Blake just getting held up at the hairpin, and that just shows you how quick the DPIs catch the GTLMs, because the GTLMs, I thought that he would have cleared them into that corner. The GTLMs have no slouch.
No, they're not, especially in the corners, actually, because with these prototypes that we're having to use with the hybrid system, it's really hard to get into a corner before them, because actually sometimes the GT cars have better brakes going into the harder corners like that. So it's just, you really have to watch to make sure you can make it.
Yeah, as we've got Bradders and Firepower still having a cracking battle for 4th place here, and the Audi pulling away on the straight as the hybrid runs out on the TSO 50 of Firepower. But he's keeping with him, because obviously in the corners he'll be slightly quicker as well, and obviously the hybrid on the way out. But yeah, really good scrap there for position as well. But meanwhile, back in the GTE runners, we have Woo. He's dropped right off the pace of the leaders because his tyres have gone off. The tyres have completely gone off for Woo, so maybe pushed too hard too quick, but he's going to have to come into the pits anyway, and so maybe is Neil Farmack. TY might be a different story.
Yeah, TY, it looks like he's always been good at saving fuel. Oh, the leader is off. Looks like he was trying to go into pit lane, but got too greedy, too fast with it.
Will in, Will in and Blake as well. Will with a bit more fuel than Blake, so I'll let you watch that, Will, as we look at the rest coming down. Well, I was watching TY and Neil as TY has actually come into the pits as well, so they must have communicated that together, the two Corvettes, and Wuru's now in as well, so it's all happening here, Will.
And it is, and the second and third come out right behind Keith, right in the middle of Bradders and Firepower. So now looks like we're gonna have a race on for the last 5 laps of the race.
We have got a race on. Blake is now in the Blake's now sandwiched between Bradders and Firepower, and that Bradder will just pull away in that Audi on the straight. And then we've got Will comes out second to Keith, but Keith's tyres for doing a one stop, they're still in immaculate condition.
Yeah, they're not bad.
And a 19.9 on them tyres as well.
Yeah, and a 19, so I mean, he's pushing hard, but saving tires, and he's definitely going to have the fuel to make it to the end, so now he's going to have to try to pick the pace up a little bit.
The DPI race at the front is on. Meanwhile, in the GTEs, let's have a look at the GTEs. We've got MGR and Florida Man just nipping through there, but we have TY in the lead of GTLM, sorry. I keep saying the European version, sorry guys. GTLM, TY leads the way because you have to put less fuel in. Neil Farmack is still second. Woo is third. They've all got enough fuel to get to the end now, but Woo could still be in this because with the pace you showed earlier, it might catch those Corvettes.
And he has the pace. It's just been pushing way too hard and just not getting it working. When Keith goes wide, and now we have a lead change overall, but Keith has that really good hybrid and gets it back.
Yeah, Will runs out of hybrid there, and he'll be kicking that hybrid thing. Come on, give me more juice, but it's not. As Bradders and Blake side by side through this section, and Bradders will have the advantage with the extra internal combustion engine power of that Audi. Not got much in the way of battery, but it's got good power down the straights, and he's ahead. Blake's still having a look, and we've got Keith and Will alongside each other as well into the turn. Keith gets ahead, but now Will on the inside, trying to get through on the inside as well. This is incredible. Oh, they're both not giving each other room there. They were both really, really aggressive into that corner, and they both paid the price, and now the others are right on top of them.
And now that's really going to help them out. Cause, I mean, there was room, but it was a little bit of squeezing going out of the corner. And yeah, someone should have backed out, but they did. But now that means all the prototypes are on top of each other, basically. Yeah, well, they've got a race and they've got to squeeze each other. But the thing is, if one of you's got to back out, you've got to pick who. But one of you's got to back out, and both of them didn't do that. So. But anyway, they're all together now as we go down towards the hairpin. Now with a battle this close, Will, the next time they catch up the leaders, which might be soon, in the next few laps, that could be fun. Yeah, especially trying to lap and fight this hard.
Yeah, Will goes out the corner, and he's actually got hybrid this time, so he can keep with Keith. So he's charged it a bit, so he's kept with him this time. So good battle out front. We'll come back to that in a bit. Florida and MGR though ruined the strategy for this race, and they're not going to catch the leaders now unless something major happens.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, I doubt it will because everybody has what they need to make it to the end. I mean, unless a big spin happens or something like that. But their strategy really has not worked out this race, and they missed out on the race up front.
Yeah, contact there between Keith and Will as Keith goes slow into the apex of the corner, and Will hits him from behind as we go through the chicane. Then Keith makes a mistake. Keith makes a mistake out the chicane, and Will goes through. Will will be like, right, okay, I've just been given my golden ticket. I am running away now, and Will's going to try and run away, but Keith will try and stay with him. But again, Keith on that one-stop strategy. The tyres just not up to the game now. I think his tyres are going off.
Yeah, I mean, they're starting to show a good amount of red, while pretty much everybody around them, I mean, except for Brad, I mean, first and third, both their tires still have no red yet, so they're going to be able to push a lot harder. I mean, you see the gap already starting to open up to the car ahead.
Shows you the Audi's pace though, Will, because I mean, I know he's on less fuel than the rest around him, but with the state of the tyres, it's quite impressive that he's able to keep up with the rest.
Yeah, and that just shows you how fast that Audi actually is around here. We didn't really see it from especially Brad in qualifying, starting towards the back, but Thunder with that great qualifying. That car just has a lot of pace around here, and just when you can make it work, that car is fast.
Keith and Blake having a good little tussle here down the straight. Blake trying to put pressure on left, right, which way I'm going to go. Cycling him up, moves to the inside to the corner, but Keith will be late on the brakes because he's quite good into this corner. He enjoys this one, and Blake gives him a little tap to make good friends and gives him a nice little boost down to the next corner. Red Bull now in the Audi gets in the way into the corner, but again, caught him at a decent point. Now can use the hybrid, squirt past into the corner, and through he goes. So good stuff there. Brad is still holding off firepower, but they've both got bad tyres, but I'm not sure whether Brad is going to make it to the end on fuel. He might have to pit for a little fuel stop here.
Yeah, his fuel is. Oh yeah, he's going to definitely have to make another stop at least for fuel. So that might just throw him out.
I think
firepower. He's going to be pushing it tight, but he might have enough to make it to the end. But Bradder's definitely not. He's going to have to make a stop, and he's unlikely that's going to throw him out of this battle.
Not even with the diesel fuel, do you reckon? Do you think he'll do it? Maybe. No.
With him being on red, I severely doubt it. Because I mean, no, something on red. You only have about a lap left. Oh, that's...
He's going to try and prove you wrong, Will.
Yeah, he's going to try. I mean, I doubt he can make it, but I mean, if he can, I mean, that's some good fuel saving there, because I mean, you're on red. Most of the time, it gives you about a lap or two of fuel. So he's going to have to make it about 2 to 3 more laps to make it to the end.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that as Blake and Keith again going at it down into the next corner. Keith giving the squeeze into the next corner, but Blake's on the inside this time, clearly on the inside, and goes through with the better tyres. Blake goes through, Keith down a third now. He's going to have a little go into the chicane. Oh, he's having to go into the chicane! Oh my word, Keith has got a death wish. You don't try and overtake into there, especially when your tyres are that bad, but I suppose desperation getting the better of Keith there, because he has had a good race, but yeah, unfortunately not able to keep him back there.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a good strategy call. I mean, especially if you could have made it work and got the gap out, but he just wasn't keeping lapping fast enough to make that strategy work, which if he did, I mean, right now he could have been way out in front. I mean, it was a strategy that could work. It was just you had that, the one thing that kept the two-stop guys with him was the main point that they were running 119s almost all race and were going flat out for most of the race, so they were able to keep the pace to make it worth doing a two-stop.
Bradders is having to come in, just only a lap and a half from the end. He's got to just top the fuel up. He might as well just put a bit of fresh rubber on for the last lap or two as well, but yeah, very unlucky there for Brad, and you were right, Will.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be tight making it on fuel, and I doubt he was going to. But even with that, I mean, there's no points lost. He can still have some points from finishing where he is, and then if he can get a good lap and maybe set the fastest lap of the race, if he can get with somebody to draft with, get an extra point there. So it's not a total lost day, just not going to finish up where you wanted to.
No, and Keith is pushing now. He's just done the best line through the chicane I've ever seen, and he's right on the back of Blake again now. Looks like Keith's found some life in him.
Looks like Keith's really trying to find some pace to split these two team cars, and he's only got a lap to do it. So this race is going to get very difficult, and we're probably going to see some desperate moves from time to time.
And Will's in a lot of trouble with traffic. He's lost a bit of time, but I think he'll be safe with his lead he's got. But Blake and Keith are coming up to Woo Woo, and it's going to be at the hairpin. This could be the difference maker between second and third.
You really could. I mean, he's got a little bit of a gap, but if Keith can be brave on those brakes, he can really tighten that gap up and get him on the hybrid on the exit.
And he's going for it. He's going for it. He's on the inside of Woo. Woo actually gives him space, which is nice. And yeah, he's able to keep going. But I think Blake's just pulled out that little edge.
Yeah, he's pulled out. He really hasn't had the draft from the teammate, because it looks like he's been farther than 2 seconds ahead. But I mean, Keith can still catch up because he's got a great draft off the back of Blake right now.
So, now this could be interesting, Will. We've got the Corvettes. Neil is on red fuel. Woo Woo is actually behind Will now. So I wonder if the Corvettes will actually slow up and let Will through, but I don't know. But anyway, it's been a fantastic race from Will. Masterly driven, and he's about to take a win here.
I mean, I had the lead all race, and looks like he's going to... Oh, and the Corvettes are going to slow up and let him by.
Yeah, so Will wins the race in DPI, and Blake, and it's... well, one of the GTs won it. It's Blake in second overall, Keith third. Neil wins the GTLM race. Then we've got Florida Man, Firepower, Team MGR in 6th place. Bradders will finish 7th. And then we've got... Thundercat still be the last one to finish, so I think everyone else is more or less going to be crossing the line now. So look for we've got Rodders 14th, Red Bull and Tim towards the last one for the last place. Who's going to be last here? Who's going to be 15th? Close to the line. It looks like it's going to be Red Bull from Tim. And yes, it's just on the line, Red Bull from Tim, very close there. And then we've got Thundercats in 8th. So a very fast finish there, guys. But we'll get the results in for you in a moment. But very unlucky for Thundercats again there, Will.
Yeah, just a very unlucky day for him, but I mean, still a good showing that he does have pace. Just has to get that consistency in there and not be too greedy on the throttle.
Yeah, so we will now go to the results of the race, followed by the championship standings. Now, unfortunately, guys, the hard drive that I had all the results on everything, unfortunately got corrupted, so we are having to skip this, but in future, obviously, I will be live streaming these races. I've got the first 3 rounds on video, which I'm going to put up like this, but then I'll be doing the results live as we do it, so apologies for that. So, as we come back from that then, your winner in DPI is Will. A brilliant race from him in the number 79 car, and the JCD Flying Lizard Motorsport team there with some good points with Blakeney in second as well, and nice to see a 1-2 for the team.
Yeah, especially after the first 2 races with Will having DNFs on GT the first 2 races of the season, and not having a great first race in Tokyo, being able to get some good points on the board with an amazing race.
And Blake with a good performance there as well. But then in GTLM is where all the excitement were happening at the end there, Will, because we had Neil, Farmack and TY slowing up to let the DPI leaders through, because I mean they had time, but TY letting Neil take the win there, so good job from TY. I don't know why he would let him win unless they slowed down in unison, but we didn't quite see that. But what was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it just looked like, both of them were, at least Neil was going to be tight on fuel coming to the end. So I don't think he would be able to make it one more lap. So, being able to slow down with a leader right there behind you kind of helped them out a little bit. But, probably TY just being who he is and letting Neil get the main points because he probably thinks that he'll be the main points one during the race and is thinking about the overall team championship. And if he can just be there at the driver's things at the end, can probably just take it from there then.
Yeah, I've just rewound a little bit, Will. I'm just going to look through the little bit here. So yeah, they actually do slow down. They let Will go, and then TY saying to him, "Just go, take it." And then Neil's like, "Oh, okay, fine. I didn't want to win it like that, but fair enough." And then Blake and Keith come through, and they take their positions as well. So, but yeah, good race overall. So, thank you, Will, for joining us for that one. A pleasure to have you commentate with us again. And we are going to be at Willow Springs, the Big Willow, next round for round 4, which will be the special event. And a bit of a different choice on the calendar, Will.
Yeah, just, kind of do what we can for tracks because there's not a lot of American IMSA tracks on this game. So I figured Willow Springs would be a good round to do with how tight it is and how fast the track can be trying to lap between hybrid cars and GT cars.
And one wheel on the sand and you're doomed. So, but anyway, guys, we will see you guys next time for that event, and we'll see you next time. Take care, guys.